Wow. Hey, what's up, guys? This is Eric Bugenhagen. I have the absolute pleasure to be brought out here to LA, getting the entire Enriched Fit gym to myself on behalf of the guys at Psycho Pharma hooking me up here. I mean, I always say the sign of a good gym is the freaking top athletes on the wall, past, present, okay? I can see there's a lot of serious heavy steel here. We're gonna move some heavy steel, we're gonna crank some heavy metal. I mean, this is what it's all about. I travel light. I got just my essentials in the bag. Let's get after it. Normally I wake up first thing in the morning, I have a few cups of coffee, I wait a little bit, get through my morning process, get my head right, have a scoop of pre-workout, have some scoops of some pump formula, head to the gym. But unfortunately, I'm already a scoop deep, okay? Listen here, we're out in LA, right? It's about good times, about entertainment, right? Freaking, that's the lifestyle, right? So I had to get the scoop in early, but I wanna feel it. I got an entire gym to myself. I wanna go freaking crazy, all right? So what I'm gonna do here, it's gonna be about half my process, but regardless, listen, these are the essentials that I'm bringing. This is all I traveled to LA with, okay? What do we got in the bag? This has got the lifting belt. We got the bands. People wonder, what are you traveling with bands for? It's to make the weights heavier, okay? Just in case. You're gonna go to a gym, just in case they don't get heavy enough, we're gonna throw some bands, we're gonna strap some more weights on the freaking weights, okay? And the guys at Psycho Pharma, it's pretty funny. They offered me a new bottle of the pump, but I said, no, it's not necessary, okay? You don't need to do that because every time I travel with some pump powder, okay? The Edge pump. Why is that? Well, because anywhere I go, I want to be at my best. I want to be full. I don't want to be stringy, flat, emaciated looking. You know what I'm saying? When I'm going to a gym, if I don't have a voluptuous pump, it's a failure of a day, all right? You might as well not even have gone to the gym, all right? So I always go the full double scooper of the pump. All right, now, just a cocktail of the citrulline combined with the L-arginine, the AAKG, okay? The science-based studies have proven that citrulline is superior to arginine, but when you combine the two, that's superior to just citrulline alone. So that's actually a really smart formula. Now, with the scoop of the Edge of Insanity, we got an additional 8 grams of citrulline. We're looking at, if I'm not mistaken, what is that? That's 16 grams of L-citrulline plus the arginine. We're gonna have the biggest pump you guys have ever seen documented on camera right now. I promise you that. But you're not gonna be able to see it until I take the pump cover off, all right? You don't wanna show the goods until it's engorged, you know what I mean? And then of course, a staple that you'd be a fool not to take. Every workout, no matter what, beginner, intermediate, advanced, you'd be a freaking fool if you don't take creatine. I'm talking monohydrate. Okay, none of this crealkaline, fancy schmancy super creatines. No. The studies prove the monohydrate, that's the way to go. Some people take 5 grams, some people take 20 grams. Listen, I'm a freaking bulbous horse, so I'm gonna meet you in the middle because I take about 10 grams every single day. Now, why would you do that? Well, let's be honest here. I mean, I'm freaking 280 plus pounds of lean, dense tissue. You think I can't handle more creatine than the average pencil neck? You're out of your mind. All right. And then of course, necessity, guys. I'm telling you, especially when you travel, always just go buy a freaking gallon of water. All right. I can't tell you how many times I've hit the road. I'm on the plane, right? I'm freaking just parched. I land from the plane. I got to get the rental car. Oh, I got to get to my hotel. I got to check in. I'm tired, I'm ready for bed, and how many cups of water did I have? Okay, do you realize that your muscles are 70% water? How much freaking water do you need to take to be a voluptuous beast? You know what I'm saying? It's at least a gallon, all right? Especially when you're freaking super dosing that creatine. Suck that water up straight to the muscle mass. Oh God, that's good. All right, and that is a routine that's simple, brutally effective, and like I said, I will never go a day, I will never work out without doing that, because if I'm not bringing my absolute best, my absolute A game, you know, I might as well be in a casket. All right, Now, let's freaking get after this, okay? Like I said, we can wait till this sucker kicks in, but I'm ready to scoop deep. The heart is kicking and cocking, ready to decimate some big ass dumbbells I see over there. Holy buckets. This is a hell of a gym in Rich Fit, LA. Wow. Now I've learned through many years that you probably should warm up before you horse huge weights. Now typically I always am a believer in warming up with the exercise that you're focusing on. So for instance, I'm gonna bench. So for the most part, I'm gonna put most emphasis on the bench, right? Warming up. It's like, yeah, I can shoot for the 180s with the dumbbells, of course, but it doesn't mean I'm gonna start with 180s, right? Doesn't mean I'm gonna start with 120s. I'm gonna start with 40s, right? No matter how strong you are, say you're a 500-pound bencher, right? On the barbell, you still start with an empty barbell. Why would you do that? Well, if you're very specifically warming up those exact muscles you're gonna be using. So you'd be a fool not to warm up like so. But what's the most freaking, vulnerable, susceptible area of the body, especially when lifting heavy? I'm gonna argue that it's the shoulders. So I've kind of learned throughout my years that, I think I learned it from I wanna say it was like a Romanian Olympic weightlifting coach, some Eastern Bloc. But basically he had this super specific routine where it was like 20 circles opposite direction, right? 10, like all the way up, all the way down, then it was 10, all the way up, down to the front. Okay, so you're just basically getting the shoulder warmed up in absolutely every single aspect possible, right? Cuban rotation, get the rotator cuff warmed up. Reverse fly. Now, of course, I'm kind of doing a speed run here. I'm not trying to gas myself with a dumbbell warm up, but in his perfect world, it's a zillion freaking reps. Swimming. But you do this, like, not only are you gonna have consistently healthy shoulders, but even if you have some minor tweaks and so, like, you're probably gonna freaking bulletproof those suckers. Rehab yourself back to perfect shoulders. Stir the pot, right? I can't wait to unveil this voluptuous pump to you guys. Oh my God. Oh. And we're talking about 5-pound dumbbells. Yeah, you do these suckers here, Y's, T's, okay? Lateral raise, Y. Oh. You don't need much. I mean, you could do this with soup cans and get a pump. But this is about just getting your freaking shoulder girdle 100% ready to horse some giant weights. Oh. Whew. I'm cooking. All right, now I could bump up, I could go a little bit heavier, but I don't need to do all that specific stuff. So just for fun, I like to keep it going a little bit heavier with the laterals as I fatigue into the laterals. All right, I go into a reverse fly. Just get those traps, those rear delts really popping, specifically before benching. A lot of times people are so focused on pecs and tries with benching that they're not thinking about their backside, but their freaking backside's really locking in and stabilizing that benching. So I think a strong back is a big bench. All right, and then something I've seen from like West Side was they would do a particular movement where it's like a shrug and a dumbbell clean, almost like a Cuban rotation, and they all swear that it's like what builds like a humongous bench. So I'm like, these guys are the pros, right? These guys dedicate their life to a big bench. If they're saying that this is the way to do it, I guess I'll take their word for it, right? I'll just do one more set and then I'm gonna get into the, something that a lot of people don't do before they bench is warm their biceps up. If I'm benching huge weight, specifically with a barbell, and you have a wider grip, your biceps are going crazy trying to stabilize that sucker. So everyone's thinking bench is chest and tries, but your buys are gotta be freaking locked in. So I like to do shoulders. I like to do a little quick bi and try pump before going heavy, but nothing that's gonna tax you before the actual, important movements. Because again, those are the ones that are gonna be building the strength, really building the mass, This stuff's just to get you primed up. Now here's the thing, dude. Psychopharma, I'll give you a funny story here. Oh, it must have been in 2019. They reached out to me, said, hey, we love you, love what you do. You know, the freaking tunes, the heavy metal, the rock and roll, the intensity, all of that. We want to send you some stuff. I'm like, cool. And he says, by the way, I love you play the guitar. I play the guitar too. Yeah, I'm like, all right, cool, yeah. He says, hey, this is what I've done. I'm expecting it to be like a AC/DC Back in Black cover YouTube video or something. And it's just like the greatest guitar playing I've ever heard in my life. Just like, I respect back, I'm like, wow, dude, this might be the best. Like, you're one of the greatest players in the world, I'm pretty sure. And sure enough, like, he signed like Shrapnel Records, which is like Yingwei and all these virtuosos. So if you're into guitar, like Darren Householder, right? That's the man. That's the man of the freaking brand. And that's literally, like, I love supplements. I love pre-workout and all that, but that was like the deal for me to be like, all right, I would go out to LA. I want to meet with these guys. Like, and first thing I get there, picks me up from the airport, takes me to the office, and just like hands me a guitar. There's like a Marshall stack, and it's like, hey, let's play some Ozzy. It's just like this is a match made in heaven. So ever since then, it's like we're talking about there's a million supplement companies, but Psychopharma has freaking like soul and character, and it's like exactly like in my DNA as to what I relate to and what I love. I love freaking fast tunes, guitar, entertainment. We're talking LA, right? Like over the top, everything's over the top. You know, the freaking wild, kicking ass on the wild side. You know what I'm saying? That's what I see it as. How am I gonna say no to that? That's a brand. Not to mention, Edge of Insanity. Listen, I've taken a million pre-workouts in my day, right? I worked at GNC back in the day of like, you know, when stuff was like still not banned, you know what I mean? So I've tried all those pre-workouts. And as I've gotten older, right, I've learned that, listen, there's like clean energy and there's horrible, like dirty energy where you just crash and the next day you're just like, here, you feel sick. You got a cough. You feel like you need to sleep 5 extra hours. For someone like me, it's like I gotta take a day off. I have nothing left, right? I've learned that that's like just a disgusting, dirty energy. So in all honesty, I have like 5 different pre-workouts in my house right now. And I always turn them down. And like, this is literally no BS. Like I always drink Edge of Insanity because I know that when I do, the next day I can do it again, right? It gives me the same level of energy, but I don't feel like I'm gonna like catch the freaking flu the next day. And that's just like, that really separates it. You know, it's like, I just summarize it as a clean energy that you can sustainably take day after day after day. And it's all about, I am a true believer in that, like, if you can't do it every day, if you can't take something for the rest of your life, you shouldn't take it at all, right? If it's not sustainable, it's not worth doing. So like I said, once I do my shoulders, delts are feeling good, traps are firing, freaking rhomboids up the wazoo. Then I'm just doing some pump, hammer curl, right? Supinated curl, because listen, throughout my years of benching heavy, you know what happens? Like, it's more than my pec, it's more than my shoulder. My bicep starts to feel funky with really heavy weight. And anyone that watches like my YouTube channel, like you'll see it when I go heavy with barbell bench, like my biceps are freaking going bananas. Like they're just spazzing the hell out. So that's when I learned, I'm like, dude, your biceps really are involved in your bench. And just like anything else, like warming up is key for longevity. Why would you not warm your biceps up before you bench? So, it doesn't have to be crazy heavy, but when you're benching, you probably want to go crazy heavy. So it's just getting everything primed up, especially like your forearms. heavy benching, like bro, if you don't have a strong grip, you don't have strong forearms, like you don't realize it, but your hands, your grip, that's the first link in the chain, right? If you having a hard time holding on to it, you think all this stuff's gonna fire well, you know what I mean? So get the forearms, get the hands, get the biceps, get the triceps, get all this warmed up. So that when it's time to press, like your freaking pecs are ready to explode through the roof. I don't really consider any of this stuff like my actual workout, by the way. People say like, oh, what do you do? I'm like, I'll just do some, like I'll bench. Bench is my main focus. Like, just bench? It's like, well, yes, but warming up, that's all playing into effect. So like, are these technically working sets? They're just warm-up sets, but I mean, it all leads up to additional volume. But yeah, I mean, this is all the priming up for the actual big papa, you know? All right. Something else that I've really kind of grown to love. I'm not gonna go really heavy on it today. I'm not saying a lot of people should go heavy on it, but it's a dumbbell fly, you know? Arnold's freaking his go-to, and everyone's like, oh, that's a crap exercise. Why not use the cable? Listen, I'm talking about freaking Arnold, okay? We're talking about Hollywood here. We're talking Arnold, we're talking Hollywood, we're talking freaking Enriched Fit, we're talking Psychopharma. It's all freaking full circle, okay? But anyways, I like a dumbbell fly. I'm gonna do it in this case just to get my pecs stretched out for pressing. Again, getting things warm, getting things stretched. But the dumbbell press, guys, like, or the dumbbell fly, who cares about this, okay? This is what we want that stretch, okay? Again, we're doing it to warm up. Look, just pulsing the stretch. I was really focusing on this for a bit, going pretty heavy with this too, and I've never been as sore in my pecs in my life, okay? That tells you something. I've been training 25 years. I've been benching heavy, you know, straight out of the womb, okay? So the fact that this is making me, you know, as sore as a freaking traumatic injury, all right, that tells you something. Oh, yeah. Oh, not to mention we got some kick-ass tunes on. Heart's getting racing, sweating, perspirating. Could be the Yohimbe flowing through my veins right now. All right, here's the funny thing about it. Yohimbe, right? A lot of people hate it, but my God, is that a magical substance? Okay, there was a study done on elite soccer players, right? Elite, we're talking professionals, right? And after they did this study, they looked at the results and all that. They wanted to see like how it affected body composition. There was zero change in fat-free mass, okay? The muscle mass, zero change, but they lost 2% body fat. These are elite players that are running all day, every day, probably twice a day. Listen, I competed Division I. We had to practice a lot of times twice a day and had strength and conditioning. So you're not putting on much fat with that diet, right? You're stripped to the freaking bone with that program. So the fact that this supplementation with the Yohimbe caused them to lose 2% body fat, I mean, it's kind of a mystery how it's not a banned substance with how well it's enhancing performance like that. But I will say, it's awesome, especially because I drink, you know, I've gone through 2 pots of coffee a day, guys. 2 pots of coffee a day. That was my all-time highest. I mean, how much caffeine are we talking there? 2,000 milligrams maybe? There's this point of diminishing returns with caffeine, right? The first time you ever have it, a cup of coffee will get you freaking on fire, it'll get you jolting, right? Then after a while, it takes 2, then it takes 3, then it takes 4. You know, it's just caffeine, right? We get desensitized to caffeine, but caffeine is such a big part of our life, right? With teas and coffees, the most consumed beverage in the world. So caffeine's not going anywhere. And caffeine's great, but like for someone like me that's going to the gym every single day because I freaking love it. It's not because it's optimal. Hey, I should probably take a day off here and there. It's not because it's optimal. I just freaking love it, right? I love getting hyped up. I love freaking horsing giant weights, peak intensity. I love it. I love it. I don't ever want to stop doing that. So I want to feel at my best. And dude, I can drink a whole pot of coffee and I'm not feeling like I'm freaking fired up. But you put some alpha yohimbe in there, yohimbe HCl, all of a sudden it's like, holy, this is like what it used to feel like when I drink coffee. Like it's just, I don't know what it is. Some people say that it's like the Cadillac of stimulants because it's like clean energy and you don't get the sniffles and feel like crap the next day, but like every time it just gets you fired up. But it's kind of funny, dude, like how it all worked out. I told you a Psycho Pharma. I just really connected with the brand, the soul of it, the mission. But like as I've been with them over time and Darren's changed the formula and stuff, he's really, I think, hit the jackpot with this current one because it's 350 milligrams of caffeine, 70 milligrams of delayed caffeine, but so it's 9 milligrams of yohimbe, and that's really what gets you fired up. But like I said, some people get too anxious by that, But he found that perfect blend, combining it with gamma amino butyric acid, GABA. Something that when I was in college and I was a real nerd with supplements, and I would look up like every supplement. And I used to be like how everyone is now with studies, like, oh my God, the research. And the first time I ever have taken GABA, experimented with it, was there was some study that showed that taking GABA pre-workout, like increased growth hormone production by 480%. I'm like, holy buckets. Well, let me start taking GABA pre-workout. And over time, for whatever reason, I was like, probably because I was poor, you know what I mean? Couldn't just keep buying a million supplements. So I probably stopped it for that reason, but introducing then the edge of insanity, I'm looking at the back, I'm like, GABA, I used to take that pre-workout because of that particular reason. And really, Darren just added it in for that like euphoria feel, because a lot of people take GABA for like anti-stress, anti-anxiety, like those things that it's very well known for. Like people take it to help them like relax, especially before bed. But when you combine that with that yohimbe, like you don't get that anxiety that like a lot of people get, because I was one of those people, like when I heard of like the studies about yohimbe being like incredible for fat loss, that was again once in college. I would wake up, I would make like a cup of espresso, and I would take it with some yohimbe. But what I found is like it really kind of gave me like just anxiety, increased anxiety, which I wasn't a huge fan of. So I always avoided it. But now that it's like combined with the GABA, it's just like the reason that I didn't like it in the past, it's gone. And now I can finally embrace it. I can embrace the fact that it's like helping me get stripped. I don't know how lean I am right now. Oh, look at that. All right, 280 pounds. Now I'm not saying it's all from one thing, obviously, but knowing that there's like studies that prove that elite soccer players, elite pros lost 2% body fat, yeah, you bet your ass I'm feeling pretty confident taking it. Like this is probably helping me strip some fat. And the beauty of that was they didn't lose muscle. I mean, what is this? It's insane. So, I don't know. That's why I'm saying it's like, people are like, but Eric, I thought you only drank Folgers coffee. First of all, I will never recommend Folgers. That's crap coffee. But yes, I've experimented with lots and lots of coffee. But again, like I was saying, leading back to it, I mean, I shouldn't need 20 scoops of instant coffee to get me amped up. I feel like I'm better off having just purely out of habit, just because I enjoy it. I like the taste of coffee, so I'm gonna wake up, I'm gonna make some coffee. But when it's time to freaking get after it and really, muster up some intensity, then you bet your ass I'm gonna have the freaking Yohimbe, and I'm gonna have the GABA, right? Because I want the fat burning, I want the energy, but I also, if it's true, what the study proves it does, if it boosts my growth hormone production almost 500%, you bet your ass I want that as well. Not to mention, like I said, I used to just train for strength, doing like one exercise, okay? And that was great. But then I kind of really, once I tore my patellar tendon, I couldn't do the strength. And I really fell in love with pumping up my shoulders and my pecs. And it's like, dude, I can get 16 grams of citrulline, right? With some arginine, with the freaking glycerol for the intracellular water retention for a massive pump. Holy buckets. Yeah. I mean, why not? You'd be a fool. You'd be a fool not to do that. That's why a lot of people, I'm gonna grab these, brother, sorry. A lot of people that are like, because you know how people are. People just love to debate shit for no reason. But like, you don't need supplements. Have some tea and just eat food. It's like, brother, how much freaking watermelon do you have to eat to get 16 grams of citrulline? I don't know, 2 full watermelons? I'm sorry, I'd rather take a scoop. Just eat. How much freaking fish do you have to eat to get, 10, 20 grams of creatine? It's the dumbest argument I've ever heard. How much tree bark do you have to eat to get the Yohimbe, right? Isn't that where it comes from, like tree bark? I can't go to Africa and eat a tree. Yeah. So, I'm feeling good. You see that sweat? That's with 2 shirts on. See that sweat going through? I like to think that that's increased thermogenesis, freaking fat burning going on right now. I want to be huge. Doesn't mean I want to be, bloated, blubbery, all right? Bulk without the blubber. This is an awesome gym, by the way. Major shout out to Enriched Fit. Listen, I've been in LA now for Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. This is my 5th day, and I'm staying really close to Enriched Fit. But I was like, oh man, I want to see like really old Arnold gyms. So I went to these other gyms, old school vibe, but now being here, it's like, what was I doing? I was wasting my time. Why did I go there when just next door there's 200-pound dumbbells? I didn't see that at any gym I went to. I saw people disrespecting the weights by putting them in the wrong spots. You can't find the 45s anywhere, mismatched weights everywhere. For someone that's so dialed in with the gym, that's like a pet peeve. It's like, I want the 105. Okay, here's 105. Where's the other 105? Where's the other 105? And it turns out it's, by the stair climber, because someone's stair climber, and then afterwards they're doing some BS, like, okay, back on the stair climber. You know what I mean? Terrible routine, right? See? Oh, yeah. Now, the key is not to burn yourself out, right? Like, you can do 30 reps. What's the point? Don't burn up all the glycogen. Don't fry the CNS. You know what I'm saying? Like, but at the same time, you got to do enough where you get them freaking tissues flowing, synovial fluid. But it's always the finest balance. Back in my day, when I was young, I would do like 1 rep, 1 rep, 1 rep, 1 rep, you know what I mean? All the way up to maxing out, which I think for strength-wise, it's probably the way to go, because you're not wasting any strength on the warm-ups, you know what I mean? But you're getting the the nervous system to feel the weight. But as I've gotten older, obviously when you get older, become a little, more injury prone, unfortunately. And I've kind of learned that, you know what? Maybe I'm not quite as strong at the top. If I do more warm-up sets, maybe I could have done a little bit more, but it doesn't. At the end of the day, I'm getting a voluptuous pump by doing more reps with my warm-ups. And if anything, I'll fatigue my muscles enough where if I get to heavy weight, I just won't be able to do it. As opposed to a lot of times people will get to heavy weight and they can do it, but then they end up like tearing a pec or something. Like I would rather just be exhausted to the point where it's like, oh, I don't have anything left. Then like fired up, I got peak strength when I go, but I'm too tight and I'm tearing something. Like that is just, you can't tear anything, I've torn knee and knee, both pretty much totally unrelated to like doing this kind of stuff. I never got hurt lifting because I just spent so much time on my warm-ups. Like guys have been asking me like, are you still warming up? Yeah, I'm gonna warm up. The majority of my workout is warming up because that way it's keeping me healthy, but I'm putting a lot of work in, and then the total volume, like it's a work, I'm sweating, you know what I'm saying? Like after I do this set, you're gonna see a nice butterfly sweat on the bench. Oh man, these are good dumbbells. Stretch it at the bottom. Stretch it at the bottom. See, the problem with most people is they do this. I see this all the time at the gyms. Right? If you're not going all the way down, you're gonna get to heavier weight, then you're gonna lose control, and you're gonna have no choice then to go lower than you normally go, and that's where you tear stuff. Not to mention for all the science-based geeks, the freaking stretch is what's gonna signal growth more than horsing loads and partial ranges of motion anyways. So I don't mind a good partial, but if I'm doing a partial, it's gonna be here, stretch. All right, we don't need this. Okay, no point in my eyes. And bodybuilders have been saying that forever, but people say, but Eric, it's ego lifting. Now, who's laughing?